Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Arning with True Speed Communication. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Danica Patrick, driver of the number 7 GoDaddy.com Chevrolet Impala for Junior Motorsports in the NASCAR Nationwide Series is here. Set a couple of, housekeeping items. Danica's here to talk about what she has going on in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and we'll give you a few more details about that. Questions concerning her 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series schedule. We're all going to announce those plans and field those questions at 2:30 in the Victory Theater just across the hallway. But first and foremost, Danica and GoDaddy.com are honoring the memory of two-time Indianapolis 500 winner Dan Weldon through a tribute paint scheme on the number 7 Chevrolet this weekend at Texas. The hood of Patrick's Chevrolet will showcase Weldon's Lionheart logo in bold letters across a black hood, and DanWeldonMemorial.com will also be featured on the TV panel of the number 7 car. As you can see here, Danica will be wearing a special tribute helmet in remembrance of Dan, and following this weekend's race here at Texas, that will be auctioned off to the Dan Weldon Memorial Foundation at DanWeldonMemorial.com. And Danica, just give us your thoughts about everything that's going on this weekend and what you're doing to help the auction.
Well, thank you to GoDaddy. They have partnered up with me to be able to pay tribute to Dan and what a great champion he was and a great guy that he was. And then I decided that it would be nice to do tribute with my helmet, in which this is the helmet I'll wear this weekend, and then donate it to DanWeldonMemorial.com to be auctioned off. And my hopes is that we can do everything possible to come together and to support to honor Dan and then support Susie and the kids in this very tragic thing. So I'm honored. It's a privilege, and thank you to everybody that made it come together. It's a special car this weekend.
Great. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Just like any media availability, if you could please state your name and affiliation. Folks from Texas Motor Speedway will bring a microphone by. Bruce, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Bruce Martin, SI.com. Danica, just how soothing was it for you to get behind the wheel of a race car and just kind of be able to focus a little bit on that after everything that we've been through the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, we did a little bit of testing in the meantime. So you're right, Bruce. It was nice to be able to get in the car, but it was really nice to just have a couple of weeks off and create some space between that weekend and those emotions and getting back out on the racetrack again. But hopefully it'll be a great weekend, and I'm going to donate my prize money to the Dan Weldon Foundation, so hopefully it'll be a great weekend for that reason.
Bob?
Bob Pocker, SceneDaily.com. In going out in practice today, I mean, obviously you have Dan's name on the hood and the Lionheart on the hood. I mean, was it emotional at all when you try to put that behind you, but, I mean, obviously it's right in front of you as well.
It feels comforting in a way, to be honest. You know, I kind of feel like I have a little angel in a way, but I tell you what, when they pop the hood open and work on the car, and to see Lionheart as I'm staring, that's all I have to stare at while I'm sitting in my car waiting for changes, is it's a cool thing. It's a privilege, and like I said, it's almost a little comforting.
Yep, if we can get a microphone to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Danica, have you ever had to deal with something quite like this before? You've been pressed to a lot of emotions. You've handled a lot of learning, a lot of attention. Yeah. Has anything happened to you like this before that you've had to deal with?
Unfortunately, in 2006, Paul Dana he passed away at Homestead in the morning warm-up before the race began. And as a result, we stopped doing morning warm-ups like that. And so that was a good change, I think. And that's what I hope can come from this, is that it's a tragedy and it's terrible, and it's nothing anybody wants to happen, but hopefully everyone can learn and be better for it and be safer from it. That's my hope. So I have dealt with something like this before, it's never easy. And that day, and we didn't race. The team didn't race because Paul Dana was our teammate. So when I drove for Ray Hall Letterman, we sat out that first event of the year, and it was. I have to say, it was. We came into the drivers' meeting room and after we had been told that Dan had passed away, and it was a discussion about what do we do? Do we go out there? And there was all kinds of conversation about how to race and 2 and 3 wide and trying to restrict things, and it was just a very complicated conversation. But Randy did come in and say, look, you guys can't think straight right now. I'm going to make this decision. You're going to go out and you're going to do a 5-lap tribute, and we're not going to run today. And that was good because after a day like that, that's probably true. We couldn't think straight. So anyway, the 5-lap tribute was nice to do. It was emotional, but it was nice to do.
Go ahead, Dean.
Dean McNulty, the Toronto Sun. Danica, the differences between the two cars are obvious. One has a roof and you're in a cage. But can you talk a little bit about the comfort level of you being in a NASCAR type car as opposed to the Delaras that you drove
It does feel safer. It felt safer 2 years ago when I drove it for the first time. There's a level of bravery with the car without the wheels being exposed that if you slide up or come down and move around the track a little bit, that you're really just going to kind of bump door to door or fender to fender. It doesn't mean that there can't be big accidents and things can happen, but obviously a lot of the serious injuries in IndyCar come from head injuries. So being covered like that there is definitely a level of comfort. So I'm pleased to have a roof over my head this weekend.
Any other questions? Yep, Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Danica, this is sort of like the first day, I guess, of the rest of your life with NASCAR.
Funny, I've been saying that myself.
Really? But obviously, what you just left behind, they're facing a lot of big issues and a lot of changes, and I know you still have a lot of friends and people you care about over there. Is it weird at all to sort of know that as they go forward, they've got all that uncertainty and you're not really going to be a part of that as much, like that this is where you are? I mean, I'm sure that's a little bit hard to wrestle with, maybe.
There's my answer. I don't have to think about it anymore, really. So they still have great race car drivers, and they still put on great events, and they have the Indy 500, so those things all still exist. But I guess that's kind of my answer, is I don't really have an answer because I haven't had to think about it. And like you said, I've been describing it as the first day of the rest of my life. So I'm all in here, and these are my thoughts and my focus. And as I said to people when I left, I'll be watching, and I'm sure there'll be moments where I'll think I wish I was out there because it looks fun. But that's pretty much going to be the extent of it for me, is being a spectator.
Yep. Nick Bromberg, Yahoo Sports. Danica, you said that you kind of was comforting to have the roof over your head. When you made the decision to move full-time to NASCAR, did that safety aspect have anything to do with it? Did it play into your decision-making at all?
No. My decision to race in NASCAR came as a result of being able to and having a sponsor that was willing to go with me, because that's the first step. But then after that, it's really about where I had the most fun racing, and I have the most fun racing these cars. I mean, if you were to put an Indy car and a stock car on the track and be by yourself forever, I mean, I think that the Indy car does pretty amazing things, but the point of it is that you go racing and you race against people, and I really enjoy racing these cars. So that's why I decided to do this.
Danica, back in March on a track similar to this, you had your best finish. So as far as tomorrow goes, you got to have pretty high hopes that you could crack into the top 10, maybe even get top 5.
That would be great. Obviously, I feel like the mile and a half's not only do I feel better around them, but the setup becomes gets closer and closer all the time, and I have high hopes, but I say that, and I need to make sure that I still keep expectation levels in check so that I'm not disappointed. This isn't a time for me to start creating false expectations for myself and feeling like I haven't lived up to it. This is the time to continue on the path that I've been going and to set goals for myself. And I think a top 10 is a realistic goal for this weekend. Our practice went pretty good to start with. We had a little bit of an uncomfortable car for a while, but I think it came around at the end. And, being so early in the morning at 9 a.m. and such a cold morning, who'd have thought Texas could be cold, as I'm sure we've all been here when it's been blazing hot. It was, I think maybe some of that had an effect on the morning from 9 to 12. But I think we're closer now, and we did a qualifying run, and it felt pretty comfortable. So hopefully we can get a good starting position so that in the race, I can start up front, and if there is an issue with the car, I'm able to get to the first pit stop without having any kind of threat of the leaders coming up behind me. So that's the goal right now.
Okay, Chuck.
Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. Danica, can you talk about next week in Phoenix, your thoughts about running there, which in essence is your home track, and it's a track you know very well?
Well, it's a little bit different for everybody now. I didn't go testing, what was it, a month or two ago? I think some of the Cup guys went testing. So it's going to be a little bit different, but probably for me that's not the worst thing in the world because of, being new to the car, new to the sport. It's not the worst thing in the world that everybody kind of has to start from learning the track a little bit. It's going to be my third time there, again with a different track, but that's always a comforting feeling, and I think that the short track stuff is coming along. That's kind of what I feel like I've had the most trouble with and struggled the most with, and I think it's gone a lot better this year. So hopefully it's a good weekend. Yeah, it's always nice to do well when you're in front of your friends and family, but they own TVs, so they tend to see the other ones too. But it's when everybody comes around afterwards to celebrate a good day, that's always fun.
Okay, Terry, why don't you close us out here?
Danica, because of what happened, has it changed your feelings at all about possibly running at Indy next year? I mean, if the sponsorship still lines up and a good team that you're happy with lines up, is that something you still would like to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to do Indy. It's, in my opinion, it's the greatest race in the world, and I have so many feelings and emotions and memories, and I still feel like I have memories to create. So, no, that won't affect my decision.
Great, everyone, thank you. And just as a reminder, this helmet on danweldonmemorial.com. Check there to see when it goes up. And again, 2:30 in the Victory Theater, we will announce Danica's 2012 schedule and car number. See you then. Thank you very much.